The Citizens Fire Company is located at the end of Berwick Street behind the Tamaqua Railroad Station. It's located at the intersection of Berwick and Row. That building had some interesting situations. The first project that they wanted to do was renovate the building on the exterior. When we took a walk through the building, it was noticed that there was a problem with the ceiling structure on their upper floor meeting room. There was a big sag in the middle of the room, and we suggested that they investigate that and make sure there's no problems. When we did, we found there was a structural failure occurring in the main beam that supported the roof over the building. So needless to say, our priorities sort of shifted a little bit, and we had to get a new steel beam engineered and installed to support the roof.
It's so hard today to raise funds to take care of the cost of equipment, how it's growing all the time. A truck that we bought 11 years ago was a little over $200,000. To replace that truck today would be over $400,000. And might not have as much on as it did. And unfortunately, inflation and fundraisers don't keep up with the price increases as far as everything. And that goes for the whole building itself. Trying to keep the building itself up to par as much as we possibly can do, because we do all the work ourselves as much as we possibly can. But just the material costs alone have just skyrocketed. So it's so hard to do it. So any kind of grant or any type of loan, anything like that, we're greatly appreciative of, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And yes, we would like to keep our fire company there. It's where it was originally back in 1852. It was there, and then like I said, the borough, that was the first building that the borough actually built in 1914, and that was the Borough Hall once upon a time. So we would like to keep it there as long as financially possible.
The second problem we ran into on that building was they wanted to repair or replace the existing asphalt floor in their truck garage with something that would have a nice epoxy finish. And when we removed the asphalt layer that had been in the garage, we discovered that the concrete that was remaining under the asphalt was not even close to sufficient to supporting the loads they were currently putting on it. And it being a firehouse in structural engineering, it's required to be held to higher standards than an average residential type garage. It's basically used in times of emergencies, and the regulations require that those types of buildings be held to a much higher standard than regular buildings. So again, we had to shift focus and find a way to reinforce the floor, which was a rather extensive job. There were a series of new columns installed in the basement and beams to cut the span down in the existing poured concrete floor. After that, new concrete was put on top, and they got their nice epoxy finish on their garage floor.
We had talked with Micah about improvements on the fire company, and when we went through with Dan Schrader, he noticed the bellowing of the roof itself on the second floor, and we made sure that it was taken care of, because there's no sense in my eyes of fixing up and making it look good if it's not going to hold up and stay strong. So that was one of the big things that we took care of right away, putting a beam right across the whole top of the building. I think it was a 21 or a 24-inch beam that spanned from the front of the building to the back of the building, and they had to bring it in 3 sections through the windows. At the fire company, we wanted to improve the outside of the building itself. The windows, we replaced them back in the mid-'70s, and they're outdated, and it was, of course, costing us a lot more in heat. and stuff like that. We want to make an improvement and also put it back to more towards the original building that it was when it was built in 1914, and work it that way. And when we contacted them, those were we had like a 5-step project to do.
A little while later, some more funding became available, and we finally were able to do something to the exterior. We installed some new windows that matched the ones visible on old photographs, and a nice new front door, which again was a historic throwback to the original photographs they had.